With it being non-league day on Saturday, I simply had to get myself to a game, but where? I wanted to show support for one of the brilliant non-league clubs I've already covered on this channel, but with so many of them playing at home, I was spoiled for choice. Carlton Town, just round the corner, have put together an impressive run of form which leaves them just outside the playoff places. Quorn had a chance to clinch their league title as early as March, but there was one club I wanted to make special effort to visit again before the season finishes, and with Saturday being their last home game of the season, I just had to head over to the Barrett Stadium, the home of Northern County's east side, Bottesford Town. And if you haven't already seen my FA Cup Road to Wembley journey, Bottesford Town wrote their own story by reaching the second qualifying round for the first time in their history, before being extremely unlucky to be knocked out by Bromsgrove Sporting down in Worcestershire. I've linked that game at the Victoria Ground in the description under this video, as well as the full journey which takes me down to Brighton's Amex Stadium this coming weekend. So I made the hour-and-a-half journey up to Scunthorpe, and since I was last at the Barrett Stadium there have been some changes. First team manager Mike Thompson joined Step 4 side Bridlington Town in January. Assistant manager Matt Evans took on a new project at Sleaford Town, which I've covered on this channel, and former goalkeeping coach Lee Herrick has stepped up into the role as first team manager. I mentioned in my previous videos that the Barrett Stadium is a work in progress, and since my last visit they've had this new cabin installed, which still needs a lot of work, but there are plans to develop it into a sponsors lounge, which will be a brilliant addition for next season. So there's another excuse for me to come back, though I don't need much of an excuse to come back here. The setup at Bottesford Town is great, but this is still only their second season since the 3G pitch was installed here. So there are still more exciting changes to come, and I'll be following this project closely over the next few seasons. Bottesford's target for this season was a top 10 finish, which despite the FA Cup distraction massively impacting their league form, is still achievable, with the club sitting in 15th in a very close middle of the table, and only 2 points behind Saturday's opponents, Rossington Main, so a top 10 finish was still very much achievable. Bottesford had picked up 4 points in March with an impressive late 1-0 win at Pickering Town last week, following on from defeats to Parkgate and Eccleshill United and a draw with Penistone Church, while Rossington Main came into this one with 2 wins and 2 draws this month. Looking at their recent results, it would suggest that non-league day would see a bit of a goal fest, especially as neither side really had anything to play for other than bragging rights. With it being non-league day, I was hoping to see a decent crowd at the Barrett Steel, but with their close neighbours Scunthorpe United playing at home and expecting over 8,000 at their huge top-of-the-table clash in the National League North, it looked as though Bottesford could actually see a lower crowd than normal. One thing I noticed right from the first time I arrived at the Barrett Stadium is the buzz around the place, and that wasn't any different on Saturday. I got there around an hour before kick-off, so I had some food and did my usual walk around the ground before the game started. I had a good catch-up with first team chairman Howard and marketing manager Jason before the two sides came out onto the pitch, and it was really good to catch up with everyone again. Bottesford Town are in blue, Rossington Main are in red, and remember how I mentioned that potential goal fest? Well, how's this for a fast start? Johnny Niantu gave Bottesford Town the lead inside what I'd calculate to have been around 20 seconds, and maybe their fastest ever goal.
Opening goal for Bottesford, number 11, Johnny Niantu.
I've seen Port Vale score inside the first 2 minutes twice this season, and that was certainly quicker than either of those. Rossington had a great chance to equalise almost immediately, but home goalkeeper Ben Vose made a great reflex save. But after that, it was a fairly even first half that saw several chances at both ends. I think Bottesford edged that first half, so deservedly went in at half-time 1-0 up. I had a tea and some more food, as well as a catch-up with various other staff members in the clubhouse at half-time, before the two teams came out for the Barrett Steel's last 45 minutes of the season. And it was a very eventful second half, which started with Bottesford keeper Ben Vos bringing down Ross Hannah in the box, to give the visitors a glorious chance to equalise from the penalty spot. Save. But Hannah's penalty was smashed against the crossbar, and what a save this is from the rebound. That was a huge let-off for the home side. But 5 minutes later, Rossington Main were awarded another penalty. The home fans felt this was a really soft penalty, and although I said I'd be able to clear it up for them, I don't think my video is going to be much help. As it turns out, there's a player in the way of my recording. I'll slow it down to see if you can get a better look, but it still isn't that clear. What do you think though? Is that a penalty, or did the referee get that wrong? Is it too hard to tell? Either way, Ross Hannah didn't miss a second time, and that made it 1-1. This is where the game got a bit chaotic, but it was such an entertaining watch. Bottesford keeper Ben Vos played a huge part in the outcome of Saturday's game, and I feel for him because he made so many good saves, but on 68 minutes he flapped it across, gifting Ross Hannah his second of the afternoon. The ever-reliable Aris Cunha made it 2-2 within seconds of the restart, but just 3 minutes later a defensive mix-up gifted Oliver Nowak with this goal. And what a horrible goal to concede, especially after how well they defended in the first half. Bottesford did have several chances to equalise, and after nearly extending the lead right at the end of the game, the visiting defence managed to hold on. So the final score, Bottesford Town 2, Rossington Main 3. So not the outcome I was hoping for, and certainly not the outcome Bottesford were hoping for, but I still had another brilliant experience at the Barrett Steel Stadium. The attendance was 93, which was disappointing, but as I mentioned earlier, Scunthorpe were playing at home, and they set an English 6th tier attendance record of 8,274, so it's not really surprising that the clubs around them saw a bit of a drop. That defeat keeps Bottesford in 15th, while Rossington Main have moved up to 10th. Bottesford Town still have the chance to hit that target of a top 10 finish, but with 3 difficult away games coming up and 5 points to make up, it's going to be a challenge. I hung around for a while after the game to catch up with various players and staff members, and just like my last couple of visits, I was treated so well. With Bottesford only having 3 league games left, I'm going to struggle to see them again this season, but as I've mentioned in previous videos, my coverage of them is far from over. I'm planning another trip up to Scunthorpe in the summer when I know what their fixture list looks like, and my channel will be sponsoring one of their players for the new season. Thanks once again to Bottesford Town for another brilliant experience on Saturday. It was great to catch up with everyone, and their Barrett Steel Stadium should be on every groundhopper's wish list for next season. I'm looking forward to seeing their future developments. Lastly, I do have to give a special mention to Adam Etheridge and Quorn, who I covered on this channel a few weeks ago. They did end up clinching the Northern Premier League Midlands Division title on Saturday, which is an amazing achievement, especially if there's still a week left in March. Congratulations to everyone at the club, and I'll be keeping an eye out for Quorn against Bromsgrove Sporting next season. That's a game I don't want to miss, so you'll catch me at the Stotto again in Step 3. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, and my next vlog comes from Brighton's Amex Stadium for the next part of my FA Cup Road to Wembley journey. And if you're still watching, for the sake of showing it one more time, here's that Luke Ayres goal against Loughborough again.